welcome back to my channel. My name is Danni GT, and in today's video I want to share how I manifest. So a lot of people have heard the term manifesting, law of attraction. I actually have done some other videos on the law of attraction, although I've done it a little while ago, so feel free to go check that out. But I want to do an up-to-date version of how I manifest in my day-to-day life. Before I get into this video, if you haven't watched me before, please take a look at my other videos, like, subscribe, comment. I would love to see you. Get engaged below, get active below, because I reply to all my comments. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So manifestation is a term that is widely used at the moment. You know, it's used a lot in modern society. I think there is, from my personal perspective and perception, there is a lot of misconceptions about manifesting. A lot of people think that you manifest, you think about something and you wait for it to arrive and you're like, yes, it's just going to come to me. Honey, that is not how it works. Manifestation is how you bring your thoughts to reality, but that is through actions that you take. You have to work towards your goals. You have to work towards your manifestation. But the idea of manifestation is that you bring it to reality. So something that has been a thought comes to reality, and that's how you manifest it. Manifestation is not sitting and waiting for the universe to just deliver it to you because you're lazy and you don't want to work for it. That's not how it works. So now I've got that misconception out the way, back onto how I manifest. So I practice manifestation through a number of different techniques that I live throughout my day, week, month. But the idea is I'm not sitting here thinking, going, I'm manifesting, I'm going to manifest. I live my day-to-day life, but I do these practices daily, weekly, monthly to start to move into a version of myself that has that manifestation. So, for example, I really love this example. If you wanted £1 million, for example, and you're sitting there, you're thinking, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be a millionaire. Now, does the version of you now have £1 million? Like, what does that version of yourself do, feel, act, wear? How does she present herself, or he or they, if you're watching this? I'm just doing this from my personal kind of her pronoun. How are they living day to day? What does it look like for them? How do they feel? Now, if you're sitting here looking at other people who have millions of pounds saying negative things like they're so rich, they have so much money, they don't know what to do with it, like they're so greedy, rich people are so greedy, then you're not going to have £1 million, because you're telling yourself that rich people are greedy. Your mind is saying, I don't want to be greedy, therefore I don't want £1 million. Now, you might not be saying that consciously, but subconsciously that's what's happening underneath the surface. Manifestation works exactly the same. There could be something that you desire and you want it, but your subconscious may have a different belief that that's not a part of you. So, prime example, I wanted to be able to manifest having money coming into my life, because money is the thing that people want to manifest most. Money coming into my life easily through multiple ways. When I went from my corporate job to self-employed, I didn't want to have one job that just gave me one paycheck, because then I felt like I relied on that solely. I then wanted to work on having multiple streams of income. So this was about 18 months ago, I had this belief. Now, when I worked on that at the time, the person who I was envisioning myself to be, that person who has multiple streams of income, what does she do? Okay, she uses her skills across the board. So at the time I was really good at looking up, I still am, but really good at looking after people's dogs because I had a lot of free time. I was really good at, obviously, the life coaching side of things. I went back to things I used to be really good at when I was younger, dance teaching. So I then started to explore those different skills, and sooner or later, actually really in less than a month, multiple streams were coming in. And also money was coming in from many different places that I didn't expect either. So the work I did at the time was very much, okay, what does that version of me look like? She explores different things because she has lots of skills. That's just a prime example. And now I'm in a place where actually I'm manifesting that my streams are narrower but larger, for example. One of the biggest ways that I manifest is by my energy. Now, I'm very lucky that a lot of people comment on my energy and say, oh my goodness, you're so positive, you just have such a wonderful energy. I don't always have that. I have days where I am moody, but I really try to embody positivity and opportunist mindset as much as possible. So my energy is really what gets me to manifest. So if I'm having a miserable day, which is a low vibrational frequency, so if you think of a radio and you've got that static, that's really kind of like, you know, that sounds a bit awful. That's where our energy is kind of sitting, and it's like low, we're feeling low, everything coming to us is low because we're tuning into what we're thinking and feeling. So I recognize where I am, and then I go, well, where do I want to be? I don't want to be like static and joyful and be like, whoa, crazy. But I do want to just move up. So I then find myself coming to a neutral place. Okay, what would neutral Danni feel like today? And I would feel calm. That's generally my neutral place, is calm. So how am I going to feel calm? I'm going to go for a walk. So I then start to change my energy. And again, it doesn't have to be from like low to really ecstatic, but you just want to start creeping up. And then when you get to that neutral, then it's like, okay, how can I explore feeling a bit more joyful? I'm going to play some Hogwarts Legacy because that is what makes me so joyful. And I say that like joyful, like it makes me so joyful. I love it. So I change my energy, but I also match the energy to what I would be feeling in that version of myself that has that manifestation. So again, another example, I have been manifesting this year to deliver speaking events on well-being as part of my business. When I tune into the energy of what that feels like, she is confident, you know, she is joyful and happy because she gets to talk to people who actually want to listen to her, and she gets to feel professional. So how do I tune into that energy and those feelings? So energy is a big way that I manifest. Another way that I have found manifestation to be so helpful is through affirmations. Now, affirmations are words, mantras, statements or phrases that you say to yourself to help instill a belief. So for example, so again, coming back to money, because that's always what people generally want help with, is money comes to me easily and effortlessly. So affirmation is about stating that, it's about saying it. You might write it down, you might put it on the back of your notebook, you might make it a background on your phone, somewhere that you can see that regularly. And by stating it, it allows you to then start to believe it. Yes, money does flow to me easily and effortlessly. Money flows to me easily and effortlessly. And you start to really feel that, and then actually feel, okay, well, how does it flow easily and effortless to me? Actually, it came in the other day via dropped in my bank, for example, something like that. So I use affirmations to help embody that version of myself that I want to be, that has that manifestation. So with the speaking events, for example, this year, my affirmation might have been one of them, I'm just reading it off the top of my head at the minute, was I'm a confident speaker and people get value from my talks. And I continue to say that to myself. I write it down. Honestly, I put it as a background on my PC because that's where I work the most. And if my PC's on, I walk past it and there's a big affirmation across it and I'm like, yes, Danni, you are confident, and yes, you have valuable information to share. That's just a prime example of how I would use an affirmation to help me embody and manifest. I'm on a roll today. I'm feeling fire today. I'm feeling so good. Feel free to put that in if you want, Ines. Like, I'm literally just feeling so good. Another way that I manifest is I write down exactly what I'm manifesting. So I have, honestly, an abundance of notebooks, and I am going to do a video where I pull out my old notebooks and see what I was manifesting and if I actually have it or what's changed, because something's changed. I write it down. So for example, I bought this the other day. This is a little like to-do list, and I just put all my little notes on it. It's actually got my notes to help me with this video today. But on here, for example, I would write, okay, manifestation, I am manifesting a new car, for example, or I am manifesting the feeling of financial freedom, for example, things like that. So I write it down so it's like a to-do list for me, because for me, to-do lists work really well. It doesn't mean that I'm going to look at it every day and be like, oh, I haven't done that, oh, I haven't done that. I write it down and then I put it away. So I have a box under my bed and it's called a manifestation box, and I was taught this by Emma Mumford from the book Positively Wealthy, which I will get Ines to put a little, whichever side's easier for you, to put a little picture up of it here, because that is such a good book. Highly recommend Positively Wealthy. I learn a manifestation box from her, and that is where I store all my manifestations. So I write them down, sometimes like a story. Sometimes I'm like, oh, Danni did this and went this and got this, blah, 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 blah. Because it just is fun. It's so fun to be like, oh, what are the possibilities of what I could have in my life? And I've been doing it every night this week. I think I write bullet points of things I want in my life. So like, Danni absolutely loves walking in her 4-bedroom house where she lives with her husband and her 2 dogs, because as you can tell, I'm manifesting a bigger house and I'm manifesting a fur baby for our dog. A little fur brother would be so cute. So, but anyway, so I write them down and I find that really fun, because then it's just about having fun and it's just about like, how big can life get? If I really lean into the joy of this, how big can my life get? Moving on to another way I manifest is visualization. And by visualization, I actually mean shutting your eyes and imagining in your head what you look like having that manifestation. So another example I'm going to give is, you know, I also would be manifesting, she's manifesting big things in a minute, manifesting a new car. I'd love a new car. I know what car I'd love. So I imagine myself going about my day, getting up in the morning, doing my day, being like, I need to go out. I'm going to go out and go for a coffee with a friend. Getting in that car, imagining that that car is as I want. How would I look after it? How does it look? How do I feel getting in it? What would I wear getting in it? Things like that. And actually visualizing that and seeing that in my mind. Once I have that visualization, I then move on to embodiment. So this is a 2-in-1, visualization and embodiment. Embodiment is how can I bring that visualization to life now, even though I don't have it. So coming back to the car thing, what I do with my car now is, you know, my car at the minute, it's an old car, it's actually quite dirty at the minute, but I clean it regularly. I get the inside clean, I wear my nice clothes in it, I hoover it, I look after it. I look after that car exactly how I would look after the car that I actually want. And when I get in that car and I drive it like it's the dream car. I take care of it, I drive it slowly, I look around like, yes, I embody myself physically that I'm basically delusional and I'm looking at this car and this car is the one I want. At the minute, you know, I actually don't know what I want at the minute. I know what car I really want, but I don't want that yet. So anyway, I'm going off on tangent here. But I embody myself as that version that has that car. And then my last manifestation technique, which I do a lot, and it's really fun, and every time I have done it, it's worked. Honestly, success rate 90%, like 80-90%. And I was taught this by Victoria Jackson, who is also incredible. She's an incredible manifestation coach. I've learned so much from her. I have been lucky enough to work with her. Again, Ines, can you put a little picture up of her here? And she has been incredible. I highly recommend, if you haven't seen her, check her out, because she is such an amazing woman for a start, but she really gives such valuable information and content on manifesting and actually applying it to your everyday life, applying it to your business, things like that. So I learned scripting through Victoria Jackson, and scripting is where you script out exactly as your manifestation is when it's arrived, as if it's happening now. So you write it as if you are that version now. So for example, I had my car, I would be writing, getting in my new SUV, Ateca, which is Ateca, which is actually the car I want, feels right to me. I am so grateful that I get to drive this car, and after test driving it, I knew it was the one. I now have it, it sits on my drive, and I get to see it every morning. And you actually write it out as if it's happening right now. For some people, that probably feels a little bit like, well, that's not actually happening. That's what we need to overcome. Overcome that it's actually not real, and just allow yourself to have some fun. If it feels like a challenge, see it as a form of entertainment. Entertain yourself. Okay, maybe this doesn't feel real, but how entertaining can this get? How fun can this get? And this is a piece of fun. But scripting has been the most successful manifestation tool that I've ever used. I don't do it enough, and I need to do it more. So those are my manifestation techniques, and I do them regularly. I do them daily, monthly, weekly, daily, weekly, monthly, but I also have a lot of fun doing them. They're part of my practice. You know, every Sunday, for example, I'll do a self-care day where I get all pampered. I wash my hair. Obviously, I wash it more than once a week, but anyway, I wash my hair, you know, the whole shebang. And then I get a nice cup of tea, I light a candle, and then I do some of these practices with some really lovely music. And I just have so much fun doing it. And it's so fun. It's completely changed my life doing these things. I never knew any of this about 7 years ago, and I cannot believe what I have brought into my life, not by just doing these, but changing my mindset. And that has been so beneficial. I Where I was before, I would never have believed what I have now. And honestly, if there's anything you can take from this video, just take that you get the opportunity to change your life, and you can, and it's so exciting. So thank you so much for watching my video today on how I manifest. I hope there's some content in there that you can take away and you can try. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this video, or even if you didn't, please could you like, comment or subscribe, because I absolutely love hearing from you guys. And if there's anything you want to hear from me, please do comment below. I would love to hear it. For now, take care, have a great day, morning, evening, week, month, and I'll see you soon.